Welcome back to The Reset. I am Shaun Tucker, human performance scientist and authority architect. We are here in the living lab documenting the science, the struggle, and the shift for every high performance dad and founder who's ready to bridge the gap between their ambition and their presence. The strongest thing a man can say is, I'm not okay. I'm going to repeat that. The strongest thing a man can say is, I'm not okay. This one hits me right where it hurts. And before we get into it, please, if you find this show helpful, please go ahead and give us a rating on your podcast platform because it helps get this message in front of the man who needs to hear it today. So let's get into it. The strongest thing a man can say is, I'm not okay. I'm going to use a story, if that's okay for this one, because this one really caught me off guard probably 3 years ago. And honestly, I wasn't okay, and I was not okay to admit that I wasn't okay. And that's why I have completely switched and flipped my belief system around, asking for help, understanding when it is necessary to receive help, and also being receptive to the support that is around you. About 4 months into realizing, 3 months into realizing that my wife was pregnant with my firstborn, my daughter, I was trying to force outcomes in my business. And I don't know, you might relate to this through your own fatherhood story or whatever. You might just relate to it. Anyway, I'm just going to share from my heart. So we just sort of found out we're about 3 months already pregnant. And I was trying to force outcomes. I was trying to make my business do better than what it was ready for, essentially. So I was trying to look for clients. I was trying to build systems. I was trying to basically get ahead. So I looked for quick fixes in my business and unfortunately attracted the wrong kind of coach and mentors to help me along that journey. And you might be in business right now. You might be doing this exact same thing. So rewind 3 years ago. We were trying to get these outcomes by essentially downloading people's blueprints for their models of success. So I hired someone for LinkedIn because I have quite a big following on LinkedIn. I also hired someone for Facebook as well because, I mean, it wasn't directly Facebook, but that's what system they used was for anyway. But it was essentially you remember those promises of let's make 100K in 6 months or whatever it was, your first 20K in your business. And the model is designed in such a way that you can keep on scaling it. And these were the promises that were going around 3-4 years ago, right? People were basically making crazy promises. And the thing is, when you make a crazy promise, I'm all about integrity, right? So I thought I was attracting people with integrity. If you make the promise and you can't deliver, well, I actually saw it as a problem for myself. Like, it's not their problem, it's my problem. Because obviously I'm not designed for getting the result. Anyway, long story short, the first guy, the LinkedIn guy, started using his system. It was not really getting me any sales at all. You could say that I wasn't implementing it 100%, but I was. I had a virtual assistant helping me implement this strategy. Maybe my offer wasn't strong. Like, there were so many foundational aspects that weren't quite right with my business, and I was already trying to scale. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Anyway, had one of these coaching calls because the way that they set it up, you've got like a course, and this guy was in Canada. study the material, you execute on the system that they give you, and essentially, you're meant to get results. So I started implementing it, wasn't really working, got on the second call with the guy. And look, I said, I've been doing this, but I haven't really been doing this. And he's like, well, just do this. And cool. Started executing it, was still not really getting me anywhere. It's kind of like just boosting my social traffic effectively, like commenting on large key influencers, posts and boosting my social authority. But without a strong offer, it doesn't matter how much traffic you have. If you don't have a strong, clear offer, it's not going to allow your clients to see what you can do for them. So yeah, that was the first one. The second one was, okay, let's install a new system. This one is essentially running challenges and being able to generate quite large scale of trust within a pretty awesome group of people who are, you basically give them, a 5-day challenge for free. And then you invite them to a call where you then give them the group coaching program, right? So I did this and, it worked to a point. But the thing is, this is what I am warning, I guess, you as well. The coach that I did hire, he quickly generated, I think, 7 figures because he had such an infectious energy. He was really believing in his promise, and people were believing it in him that he could help deliver on those promises. But the thing is, he gave away everything in that challenge. He literally gave away everything. And so when it came down to the actual paid program, there was nothing that he had to give. He just went through the same old stuff and then basically claimed that he had over-delivered. Right? He said to everyone, I've over-delivered. And he charged people varying amounts depending on how much they could afford. So for one person, he charged $20K. For another person, he charged $5K. For another person, he charged $500. Anyway, this didn't really make any mathematical sense to me, but I guess long story short, this guy runs a 6-week paid program or 8-week paid program, sort of just half. He's kind of half there. He's pretty hard to access. Shows up on the calls, asks what's your bullshit story, and then that's it. It's like leaves you to your own device, doesn't actually give you any tangible kind of strategies or advices, just, walks through this. And after the 6 weeks, I think I wasn't there for 1 week, and this guy literally just disappears off the face of the earth, like becomes completely inaccessible. Apparently flies to Europe, finds a girl that he likes, and goes on this romanticized kind of story. Anyway, becomes incredibly inaccessible. So you can't actually message him, just disappears. The coaching ends, and then you get a message, people complaining to him, and then he just says, I've over-delivered. I've given you everything that you need. And says that he's working on something and he's going to come and deliver it when he comes back. But the coaching program's finished. So he made his 100K and just disappeared. Okay. This is pretty sad. But anyway, so I wasn't upset at the guy. I actually knew the guy. I was more upset at myself because, once again, integrity. I see it as maybe I couldn't execute. And the truth is, I wasn't ready. I didn't have the foundation. So it's true. But at the same time, if you're making really bold claims and promises, you want to make sure not only you can get the result for people, but at least you can show up. And I think it forced me to actually really have a look in the mirror at myself and ask myself, are you okay? Right. And I knew deep down that I wasn't okay, because this had just sort of pushed me on the edge. And then I had a client. This is just unpacking, right? I had a client who wanted help. At this point, I was offering basically a modality that helps people really unpack what's going on within themselves and heal their past essentially. So this client comes in, claims that he's ready to help. I start using their modality, and he starts getting really angry and really triggered by the offering that I was doing. In that session, it was okay, but he leaves and then comes back the next time. Didn't pay me, by the way. Said he was going to pay me. It ended up eventually paying me for my service, but he was really, really passive aggressive in that second session. And I had no idea what the hell was going on. And it really kind of triggered me because I thought this guy was ready to receive the help that that he expressed he wanted help with. Long story short, he caused a lot of pain in me, which in turn was one of the best things that could have happened. But still to this day, this guy gets online, sees my posts, and will actually sit behind his keyboard and comment negatively, and will basically just sit as a bystander, being one of those hecklers that you see at comedy shows, literally just taking the piss because he feels like he can. And if you know me at all, like, I do care about what you think. I care about my reputation. I care more than you know about your well-being, and not necessarily how you see me, because I don't really care about that. But I really care about how you are. And I want to make sure that you're actually doing okay. This guy really upset me. He caused something inside of me that just really made me scared to be myself in the space of being online, and also just, I guess, helping people at that level. And so I kind of went into a shell. It wasn't safe to come out anymore. I was still helping people here and there, but I didn't want to actually work anymore. It got to the point where my business stopped money coming in. And it was the worst thing that could have happened at the time, because in my mind, I was so stressed out. I needed to build this business to the point where I could actually sustain my family and provide and protect my family, right? And it wasn't working out that way at all. It completely went the opposite direction. And I just remember being like, I felt so terrible inside, but I still wasn't asking for help. Anyway, there was one night I went into my office and I saw this note on my desk, and it was written by my wife. I love my wife. She always catches me off guard. In just ways of supporting me in such profound, loving ways. And this really did. It got me. So this note, I just basically started reading it, and it said something along the lines of, I know you've been struggling. I can see you, and whatever you need, I'm here. And it pierced me at such a deep level that oftentimes we forget that the strength is actually in actually asking for the help and receiving the help, and to know that you're not okay. Because this was a build-up of, let's say, 30 plus years of not being okay. And all of a sudden, having someone just come in and poke and break the glass. Everything shattered. Tears just started pouring down my face, and I didn't even know what was going on. So I guess my hope in sharing this with you is that you realize that you don't have to do it alone. People around you can see, and they do admire you for having such strength, but at the same time, realize that the strength is actually in admitting and accepting that you're not okay. Being around others that can get it, like they understand, they fully know. It's not, vulnerability is strength. Like, seriously, opening up your heart and letting the emotions really I guess, open you up to see that there is a new reality for you. You have the ability to chase your dreams and not have to be the person that wears the mask all the time. Performance and authenticity, they can be one and the same, but you have to allow them. And the only way you can allow them is to often realize that being strong also means being open. Having a strong, courageous heart is in realizing that you're human too. Tackling the world's greatest problems just means that you're facing yourself in the truest form, because it's got nothing to do with what's happening outside. It's what it stirs inside of you that matters the most. And having compassion for those people who have hurt you, having forgiveness for those people that have hurt you, and just being at peace within yourself, I think is one of the greatest things you could possibly do. That note didn't break me, it opened me. And from that point, it's been hard, I'm not going to lie. It's been hard to face up into reality when you're tired, when you literally don't want to get out of bed. But there's still that little bit of hope, that glimmer of hope, that things are perfect. They're working out exactly the way that they're meant to. And when you really tap into that space and realize this world is actually yours, it's made for you. It's not for you to conquer. It's for you to explore and have adventure. Something really magical happens. And I gotta say, I'm beyond grateful for the people around me, for the support that I have, for the love and for the hate that was projected towards me, because it really helped me see how I saw myself. And often those conversations that we have inside our head about ourselves, sometimes the people around us will show up and they'll show you exactly how you've been treating yourself. So it's okay to not be okay. And it's more than okay. And it's not just that, it's actually strength in accepting that I'm not okay and I need some help right now. I need some support. And just telling the truth. Telling the truth is the most liberating force you'll ever experience. Yes, it's hard, but it's always worth it. So that brings us to the end of this episode. And if you're really not okay, by the way, start by having a conversation, even if it's with a stranger. I probably don't know you, but if you want to have a chat, I'm more than happy to have a conversation with you. If it's via messages or if it's via an actual phone call. Because to me, it's about being human and connecting with real humans. So if you found value in this episode today, please go ahead into the show notes. Rate our show on the podcast platform you are listening through. If it's on YouTube, subscribe and also share it with someone who needs it today. Remember, most people wait for their life to change. We are the ones who architect our choices. Change your state, choose how you show up, and if you want to stop being a passenger in your own life and start being the architect of your legacy, make sure you scroll into the show notes and find 7-day nervous system reset. Because what that does is it builds the man from within, from the ground up. Thanks so much. I am Shaun Tucker. I will see you in the next one.